Hey guys, welcome back to CVO Wellness, Chill Vibes Only. My name is Allie, and today we are going to be talking about how to invest your money in the stock market in Canada. I've been making a bunch of financial wellness videos recently on this channel. I've talked about TFSAs, I've talked about RRSPs, I've talked about FHSAs, I've talked about emergency savings accounts. And today I specifically wanted to break down how to actually invest your money. I've talked about it briefly in those videos and when I was speaking about those accounts, but I also just wanted to create a super simple and easy video for you to get started on how to start investing. And this is basically for somebody who has said, okay, I want to get into the stock market. I want to start making my money work for me and making money off my money. So I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do that. It's very simple. And the reason I'm making this video is because I think sometimes you can feel very overwhelmed or scared to start investing or get into the stock market. And you might go to a bank and have them open up the accounts for you and start investing your money for you. And in those cases, you're often paying high fees. And so I just wanted to make this video to share how I did it personally myself, to hopefully give you guys some insights and make it feel less scary and more approachable and empower you to do the same. Because I truly think if you can understand like how investing works and how you can make your money work for you, and even if you still choose to have the bank do it, at least understanding what they're doing is super important. So, again, I'm not a financial expert or advisor. I'm just somebody who learned how to do this myself and is doing really well at it. My investments have grown over the last 10 years to over like $350,000 now. I think I was at like $360,000 the last time I checked. And it's not because I'm doing anything special or different. I'm just being consistent. I am staying on top of saving and just consistently investing my money as I make money. And if I can do it, I swear anybody can do it. It doesn't have to be a scary thing. So I'm going to be sharing my personal experience today, what I do, and how I invest my money, so you can feel empowered to do it yourself as well, or at least understand how it works. So first things first, you're going to want to have an emergency fund before you start investing. I always recommend having a chunk of money set aside in case of any emergencies. I did a whole video on how I was able to save an emergency fund of over $40,000. So check that out down below. Highly recommend you have some sort of cash set aside that you're not going to invest, because the money that you put into your investments is money that you don't want to touch for a long time. It's money that you want to just let sit there and grow over time. The way you lose money in the stock market is when you have to sell your investments because you need the cash and you're selling them at a loss. That's why I always recommend having an emergency fund set aside. So this video is after you have that nice emergency fund there for you and you have extra cash that you've been saving on a monthly basis. I also did a video on how to track your monthly spending and how to budget so you have money to invest. This is where we're going to start from that point. I started off by just investing, I believe, like $800 a month. So I take $800 from my paycheck and put it into the stock market. But whatever that amount is for you, usually anywhere from 10 to 20% of your income, more if you want to invest more, you're going to take that amount and you're going to put it into an investing account. And an investing account can be your TFSA if you have contribution room, an FHSA if you have contribution room, an RRSP if you have contribution room, or just a regular investing account. There are benefits to the first three that I mentioned, tax benefits and first-time home buying benefits. So you can check out those videos down below. But depending on your situation, look into those different accounts and pick the best account for you to start. Usually you want to max out your TFSA first, and then you'd want to max out your first-time home buyers account if you're interested in buying a home. And then you can start contributing to your RRSP. At some point, I do believe it makes more sense to just open up a regular investing account, because your RSP is taxed when you retire and you start to take that money out. So there is a certain number where it makes more sense to switch over. I can do a video on that later. I'm not going to touch too much on that now. For all purposes, assuming you are just starting out brand new, I recommend opening up the TFSA in Canada. So this is your tax-free account. You're going to look at what your contribution room is. So if your contribution room is $40,000, you might not make that by the end of the year, but you can add in your $800 every month from your paycheck. What you're going to do is you're going to add the money from your regular bank account into your investing account. And you can open up an investing account with any bank. I personally invest with Wealthsimple. I actually have a referral link down below if you want to open up an account with them. When you open up an investing account, specifically with Wealthsimple, there's an option to do self-directed, or you can have someone manage your investments for you. That's a personal choice. I'm going to be speaking to the self-directed option today. You can have them manage your portfolio for you. This is typically less than what if you would have to pay if you went to a bank and had a person manage your investments for you. Obviously, the self-directed route is going to be the least percentage that you'll pay, and that's what I do personally because, like I said, I think it's really simple to invest your money and you don't always need to have someone doing it for you, and then you save on those fees because you could be paying thousands of dollars in fees to have someone simply just manage your portfolio when it's really easy to manage it yourself. So just always look into what those fees are. Again, if you're someone who just wants to set and forget it and you don't want to think about this, it might be useful for you to go with Wealthsimple and have a directed portfolio. I know the fee is less than if you were to do it at a traditional bank, but yeah, something to look into and consider. But for this video, we're going to be talking about self-directed. So you're going to choose the self-directed approach, and then you're going to send the money into the account. And this is where I think people get confused. They think, okay, I put the money in my TFSA. I said I'm self-directing, I'm invested, I'm good to go. And that is not true. So once the money goes into your account, your investment account, you then have to choose what to invest it in for it to grow. So that's where it comes into doing some research around what you want to buy. And what I have personally bought and what makes sense for me and my financial journey and what's done really well for me is purchasing ETFs, which are exchange traded funds. So instead of owning one stock like Apple could have a really great year and go up, or, someone could come out, for example, with BlackBerry, a brand new phone, and it can completely tank. It's very risky, or it's a little bit more risky to invest in individual stocks like that because, again, they're very volatile and the market can go up and down with them. What an ETF is that you have investment portfolio where the ETF owns a small percentage of the top 100 tech companies or the top 100 US companies. So you can have all different types of ETFs. You can have ETFs that follow the US stock exchange. You can have ETFs that are international. You could have ETFs that focus primarily on technology. You could have ETFs that focus on oil and gas. There's all different types of ETFs, but what the point of the ETF is that instead of owning that one company, you own a percentage of all of the companies. And the thought process is that on average, overall, the stock market has gone up over history, right? So there's obviously been huge crashes and huge peaks and valleys within the stock market. But overall, if you look at the chart, it has gone up. So if you buy an ETF that follows a large portfolio of stocks in the stock market, your money is likely going to also go up over time and compound that way. Personally, for me, I choose to invest in ETFs. There are breakdowns of ETFs that you can look into. So you could get an ETF that is more conservative. So it's maybe 80% more fixed income bonds and 20% stocks. That's more likely to get you the return year over year, but obviously it's going to grow a lot slower because it's more fixed income and secure investments. Whereas if you went with an ETF that was 100% stocks, it's going to be a bit more volatile year over year, but you're going to have higher growth over time. It's really up to you where you're at in your life. For me personally, I'm in a heavy growth stage of my life. I'm fairly young. I'm willing to leave that money in the stock market for a long period of time. I'm planning to retire off of that money. So I want it growing for me as much as possible. When I turn 50 or 60, I'll probably start to transition more to conservative ETFs. That's more of that 60-40, 80-20 balance of fixed income to stock. But for right now, I'm trying to purchase more things that are higher growth. ETFs that you can look into purchasing if you're interested in this is any of the Vanguard ETFs are a good place to start looking into. There's XPAL, there's VBAL, there's VEQT. I'm just listing these because I want you to actually go do your own research and look up the stock and click, okay, how has it done in the last 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and see the growth. And then you can kind of make an assumption of okay, if I put $5,000 into this ETF, what potentially would have that looked like in the last 5 years? How much would my money have grown? So it gives you a good understanding of how the ETF's doing, and then you can make a decision about if you want to invest in it. When I invest in an ETF, I rarely sell it because the ETF in that portfolio is being managed by, say, Vanguard. So they are buying and selling for me. You pay a very, very nominal fee for this. Nothing close to what you would pay a bank to manage your finances. And it's just really efficient. So you purchase the ETF and then you forget about it. I just let it sit there and grow, and you can see over time in your portfolio how your money has grown for you. And then, yeah, like I said, when you get to a certain point in your life where you maybe want to go a more conservative approach, you can start to sell those higher growth ETFs and invest in more conservative ETFs. So yeah, what you're going to do is you're going to take that money that you invest in your account, you're going to do your research on your ETF that you want to buy or the stock that you want to buy, whatever you feel comfortable investing in. You're going to purchase that. So you're going to say, okay, I want to buy this ETF. This is the amount of cash I have. So I'm going to purchase this amount of shares at this price. You put your order in, and then hopefully it gets accepted. And then now you hold that stock, and that stock sits in your account, and you're going to see some days it goes up and other days it goes down. And my biggest advice is to not get overly emotional about it. Don't try to go in all the time and sell it or buy something else. The whole point of an ETF is you really just want to let it sit there and do its thing over time, because when you get too emotional in the market, I think you can sometimes get scared or sell when you really shouldn't have to. Things are going to go up and down. It's just about kind of staying the course and letting your money grow for you over time. So even if you want to automate this, I think that's a really good tool. You can say like, okay, every single month I'm putting $1,000 into my account and I want to purchase this, and just set it up automatically so you don't have to think about it. Because when you start to get emotional, it can be really scary, when the market crashes. But what I try to do for myself personally is I reframe it in my mind as like, oh, everything's actually on sale right now. So right now is a really great time for me to buy, because like I said, over time, if you look at the stock market as a whole, it has gone up historically. Of course, there's no for certain. It's never to say that's exactly what's going to happen, but it is a strategy for making your money work for you. And it's something that I personally do and has worked out really well for me in the last 10 years, growing my money through investing. So yeah, once you have a purchase, it's going to sit there, it's going to grow over time. And then hopefully when you're 20, 30 years down the line, your money's going to have worked for you and made you a ton of money. You also get dividends sometimes with these ETFs. So you'll get paid dividends. And then with Wealthsimple, they actually have this really cool feature where you can just reinvest your dividends. And that's money that the company pay out to their shareholders when they've been profitable. So that's really great. And yeah, I hope that makes sense. If you have questions, please leave them down below. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you investment advice. I'm just explaining to you how I manage my investments. It's really simple. It's really easy. Once you get over that first hurdle of just opening the account, transfer the money into the account, buy the ETF, like it just gets so much easier. And over time, you can see just how much your money grows. And it's not the most exciting thing. It's not something that, you're going to get a rush or a thrill from every single time, but it's those really boring consecutive habits that pay off in the long run. And you don't have to be like a genius to do this. You don't have to have all this knowledge. You just have to be aware of how to actually do it and then take those steps yourself, which I hope this video helped you do. Alrighty, so that was my video on how to invest in Canada. Obviously in the States, there's different investment accounts, so I encourage you to look at that for yourself. But that's what I would do. Very simple. Open the investing account. 2, put money into the account. 3, buy an ETF. And then 4, watch your money grow for you over time and just sit tight. So I hope you guys found that video helpful. Please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe because it really helps my channel. Also, check out my other videos down below if you want to get more of a deep dive into those different types of investing accounts or how to build that savings account if you don't have it yet. And yeah, just be proud of yourself for even taking the time to click on this video and watch it. I know investing can be scary and seems overwhelming, but I truly think the more knowledge we share and the more knowledge everybody has, the easier it will be. And I hope you feel empowered to, start investing and have your money make money for you. Because once you get it figured out, I can tell you it's really easy to keep up with and it makes a huge difference in your personal finances. Alrighty, I'll see you guys for another video soon.